What up, family? It's your boy Amadou back with another review, and this time I got some company with me. First, it is lady, the Mrs. Masawal.
Okay.
And I also have the nephew, Junior, or
Hello.
Darius, or
Either. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna just call it Junior. Alright, so we are here to talk about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. And what I want to know first is, what are your overall thoughts? What y'all think about the movie?
Ladies first.
Well, I liked it. I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars. I know it's not a popular opinion. Everybody's really crazy about it. But
Nobody
to
liked
me,
The Last Jedi, apparently.
Either,
So,
like,
Not that.
ever since we started watching all of the movies, it just felt like the stories recycling the plot. You know, they fight the Emperor, whoever is in charge, in the same manner by like destroying this little one
Yeah.
thing in a big ship or in the Death Star or whatever. And
yeah, a lot of people.
it's the same motion.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that Force Awakens was just A New Hope,
Mhm.
and then aside from Last Jedi, half the people hating it, half the people loving it. Just looking at it, you could see that what Yoda was to Luke in Empire Strikes Back, Luke was kind of that to
That
Rey in Last Jedi. But still, with all that, what did you think about Rise of Skywalker? You
It
liked
was
it?
good. Yeah, it was a good, decent movie. It's not the best movie that they built it out to be, I don't think.
Okay.
And maybe it's because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Maybe that's fine. But it was a decent movie, something to watch.
Stacking it up with the entire trilogy, I think it holds a place, I guess, in its own. Just because I liked it. I think that the scenes to me were dark. Like, I don't know if anyone else picked up on that. Like, there was a lot of black. Like, I feel like it was really dark. Like,
They just
couldn't really
they
see.
made the actual tones of it, the actual
Yeah.
color a lot
Mhm.
darker than
Than past
in the
movies.
past two movies.
And I think I like that because if you go back, even dating back to the original trilogy, like Phantom of the Menace was bright green,
Yeah.
on all type of planets, and it was look really,
A
colorful.
kids movie.
Yeah.
It was a kids
Yeah,
movie.
and I think they did that on purpose though with this time around.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna get into that type,
Yeah.
part of the
So
video,
yeah,
but-
this part is gonna be non-spoiler first,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna get into spoilers a little later.
But
It's-
for the dark tones of the color, I think it fit the movie.
all right, and it's funny you said you're not that like big of a Star Wars fan. I'm not either, and I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was epic as hell. I enjoyed just about everything I saw on it, and that might be because I'm not a Star Wars like aficionado like I am with Marvel. Like, and even with Marvel, like I'm also just kind of more optimistic with things. So if
Yeah.
it's enjoyable and I like the plot and it makes sense and
And
there's no
it's
stupidity,
Yeah.
then I really liked it. I think this was the ending they wanted that wrapped everything up and had a couple surprise and actually had maybe one or two surprises here and there for me that I didn't think I was going to get, but I did. There wasn't a part, and I can't think of a part that I didn't like. But let's go into that. What's something before we get into what you did like? Non-spoilers. What didn't you like? And for me, there was one reveal. Again, I get a little bit into it better when we have spoilers, but
Yeah.
one reveal about somebody helping another side. When they revealed that, I was just like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
reason it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But
For
the
the
reason,
story.
yeah, but something that happened afterwards
Mm.
redeemed it for me. So like that again,
Mm.
try not to spoil anything just yet, but it was really that one small thing for me that I was like, I could do without
Yeah.
that. Other than that, action was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really happy we finally got a story of the new three.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Last Jedi or Force Awakens actually gave us a story
It
with
was
the
separate.
new three, with
Yeah.
Poe, with Finn, and with Rey.
They were together in those older movies, but they were doing their own thing.
Own
Like, it
separate
wasn't-
thing, yeah. This is the first time like
Mhm.
you had the original three in the original movies. I feel like there was a trio in the prequels, weren't there? For some reason, I'm thinking there
I
was.
think so.
It was well, first off, it was
Yeah,
Obi,
yeah, I was
Qui-Gon,
gonna say.
and Anakin, and then it was
Well, even before he was older though.
but-
If you want to throw R2 out.
Mhm.
R2, but R2's always there. R2
Yeah.
R2 was always there. No, it was for me it would be Amidala, Anakin, and Obi.
When they
That
were
that
four.
would be the trio of the prequels. I keep wanting to call the prequels the originals.
Because
Don't kill me.
right.
Don't kill me, please. So yeah, that was one small thing, but other than that, I really think they play the balance of this originally being for kids, but being more updated. We did the marathon beforehand, and I watching the originals. I had to remind myself that the originals came out in '79. So when I was watching it, I was like, "This isn't that." Wait, no, for '79, it's really good. Actually, it is. So
Even if
Yeah.
we're speaking on the older trilogy, me being the age that I am, not that we're even that much different in age, but even watching it,
man, I'm about 10 years older than you.
I mean,
I'm about 10 years. We're a little different
I mean,
age. We're a little different age.
yeah.
You 21, I'm about to be 31.
I
That's a
mean,
decade. We're
yeah.
yeah.
okay, but still, even still though, like I didn't feel watching the movies, even at some points when Anakin blew up, you know, I didn't necessarily feel like oh my god, how could a kid do this? Because at that point, we're in a different galaxy, we're in a whole different universe. So it's like I give it the benefit of the doubt. It's like, okay, maybe this can possibly happen. When he's flying through death races like this.
All right. So was there anything you didn't like in the movie? In Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker.
Just any aspects?
Honestly, no. Besides the point that you hit on, besides that, no, I don't. Like, we're not in that part of the video, but I don't necessarily like, I guess, how they went about with his arc. I don't like the way how they, you know, I guess changed it in a way.
I did. I
You
enjoyed
did?
it, but I have reasons for that too. Is there anything you didn't like?
I didn't like the ending.
Mm.
I thought it was really cheesy. Like the very ending.
I know what you're talking about. So possibly.
The
Oh,
whole-
like the last
yes,
scene.
yes.
Okay.
The point
okay.
I'm making has a lot to do with the lightsaber. I did not care for the
Okay.
whole scene that they did with the lightsaber and the connection that they made with the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
thought that was too cheesy.
Okay, we'll get in that quickly. What did you like about the movie? Like I already talked about, I love the action. I love that seeing the three together. I just really enjoyed the pace of it.
Really calm.
They made this the last movie.
Yeah.
They was like, this is the last movie. We going all out with the motion that we can get, all out with the action that we can get, all out with the
CGI,
story,
everything.
CGI, and making it driven by those three characters along with the side characters that were always with them.
Especially with the story, because it was so centered around them together.
Yeah, it was so centered around them. So that's why I really enjoyed this a lot and really liked this as the ending. But what did you like about it?
So I really like that they stuck with the original theme, that these quote unquote heroes or the last hopes, whoever that person is, that internal battle that they consistently have, going back and forth between the dark side and becoming a Jedi. Like they really stuck
The teeters,
with that all throughout, and I felt like, I mean, they were consistent with it. Every movie that I saw had that.
It's a good. I feel like with that aspect in Star Wars itself, it's good and a bad, because I think everyone knows there's a good and a bad side. But I think what Star Wars does really well is that they show you how much it can, you know, cripple a person, but how also like there's so many lives at stake with just that one little. Do I join the dark side? Do I stay and become a Jedi? Like they show so much is at stake with that.
One thing that I think I ultimately like, but I go back and forth with, just because it is that complicated, is in all of the trilogies. Is it a quick transition from dark to light and light to dark, or is it, because it seems quick when I think about it, thinking about Darth Vader, thinking about Anakin in the originals. Apparently it's the same person. So no, let me tell you that Anakin Skywalker can't make up his mind. He cannot make up his mind.
No.
From light to dark, and anyway, but even still, and then parts of this trilogy, it seems like they flip. But then when you think back at it, no, it's actually a good amount of time and movies and stuff that they have to deal with that.
I mean, that's the ultimate battle, right? It's not always white or black, or there is some gray in all of the decisions. And so I think for me, they showed that even when as you are making the choice to become part of the dark side, you still have to make that hardcore decision. You still have to make those sacrifices.
100%.
And as you're going through that process, there's a chance that you might turn.
Yeah. There's so much
to the
power,
light
not
side.
to marvel, you know, great power comes great responsibility. So
Yes.
it's like,
So-
what do you do?
He said that, not me.
But
KB,
I
cut
don't
that out.
think
He said cut that out.
it's not an instant choice to become part of the dark side. It's a lifelong journey. You still have to train, and even if you are part of the Jedi,
Not necessarily mean you're gonna stay there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if there's a chance. So.
All right, so it's enough of that. We're gonna get into spoilers. If you have not seen the film, stop, go see the film,
Pause.
come on back. Unless you like some people I know who really don't care and just want to go see it
Yes.
anyway. We're about to hit the spoilers now.
This is a spoiler alert. I repeat, this is a spoiler alert. This is a spoiler alert.
So we just got finished watching Avengers Endgame.
Part 2.
Really? So I don't know if you caught on to it, but she caught on to it.
I was
And
laughing
then
my ass off.
Wait,
We just literally just watched Endgame.
when the whole entire
So
Yes.
she went over to me. So Poe was like, I don't think we're gonna make it. Nobody's gonna come.
Summer
And then
music.
and then you heard the little static, and Lando was over it, and Lando's black, Falcon is black,
Yes.
and she leans over, and she's like, Cap, on your left. And
That was basically
that's
it.
what
Yeah,
happened.
he turned the
That's
shit,
what happened.
you know?
And all the shit came just like all the
And
orders
just
came.
like-
Then instead of portals, it's coming through light
Yeah.
speed. And
It
then
was like a 10-second like look over like
Oh,
alright. here we go.
and then Palpatine says, I am the Sith. I am inevitable.
Yeah.
And Rey even does the pause, and I
Yeah.
am Iron Man. I'm sorry, I am all of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And we are busting out laughing. And then when she kills him, how does he disappear?
Just,
He gets dusted.
I was gonna say.
He gets
So,
dusted.
I was gonna
Everything
say, so-
else goes along
He
with
gets
him.
dusted. He gets dusted.
So
And-
I was gonna say, why? So what was the whole point of him just disappearing like that? I don't get.
whoa,
the
whoa,
entire-
whoa, Palpatine?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see him actually disappear. I just saw him because he got electrocuted. He finally, remember in Revenge of the Sith, he got scarred because of the electrocution going back to him.
Yeah.
That just finished him off, and he got so electrocuted that everything was just flaying off his skin.
Oh.
I wasn't paying as much attention because we were laughing our ass off because he just got dusted just like Thanos did. And the real funny thing about it was the entire movie for me, I was thinking of Endgame because I was like, it's as epic as Endgame. It's doing some fan service just like Endgame.
Yeah.
Because I knew Han Solo was coming back at some point.
Right.
I knew Luke was coming back at some point. And then when
Luke definitely. Han surprised
Yeah.
me. I'm not gonna lie.
I wasn't. I was waiting for him. And then when she was looking in the stars and all the Jedi were talking to him, and they actually used Hayden Christensen, and they actually used Liam Neeson,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they used Sam Jackson, and Yoda was in there. They did all the fan service, and it was an epic big ending to end this not 10-year but 30-year
I was
journey.
gonna say, yeah. Jesus Christ.
30, 40-year journey from the
1978.
originals, because it's 79 or 78.
Yeah.
And then she turned over and said, on your left, and I was
That was
done.
it?
I was done. I was
You
like,
know, it was building up, and like as I was watching, I was like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I'm wondering in my head as I'm watching and anticipating what I know is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like the connection between the writers. And I mean,
yeah.
I know it's all owned by Disney. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
how much influence that Endgame had,
That's a great question.
whether intentional or not.
I mean, Kevin Feige is about to do his own Star Wars thing. He got hired. I was wondering what got written for. Yeah, but that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah.
But that's another reason why I enjoyed it. They took it as they took it serious, but they kept Star Wars vibe where they had a lot of kid stuff because
Yeah.
it was originally a kids movie, but they made it a lot darker.
I was gonna say it got so dark.
Yeah.
Like I was not expecting, especially if you compare the old trilogy. Like we weren't seeing people like actually getting like stabbed and like blaster holes shot through their chest and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it got dark. It got not gory, but a tad bit like graphic. I mean, obviously it's a kid movie. Take your kids to go see it. But comparing that to now, like if Feige does do his own trilogy, how dark do you think they'll let him get? It's Disney, yeah, but
Nah,
people
he's
gonna
going
see
well
it?
as dark as he does Marvel, and Marvel can get pretty dark, and
Right.
it has. The other thing when Ray was laying there dead, Tony.
Oh,
It
Yes.
was- it was-
yeah.
it was-
And you saw, who was it that went up to her or
Kylo, when
was
he
thinking
picks
about
Kylo,
her,
when he
I
picks her up.
honestly thought Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mr. Dark.
Yeah.
That's
So-
so that's 30 minutes, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the one other thing before, because I know you wanted to talk about the ending and you were talking about Kylo's arc, the other thing that
Yeah.
I had that we were talking about before we started the video was they never mentioned what Finn was going to say to Rey.
That's true.
You think they did. I don't.
I think they
What is-
did
what is-
because remember who was it that asked him about it?
Poe,
He said
Poe, right before they get
Leia
shot.
knew, and he's kind of consistently shown that he is getting closer and closer to the Force.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, he kept saying, "I have this feeling. I have this gut feeling." So I'm thinking he put two and two together, and he knew, and he was trying to tell her before she found out herself that she was the granddaughter.
Okay, the reason I don't think he was gonna tell her that so it was the whole part where they were sinking into whatever that weird sandpit thing was, and they
Yeah.
were disappearing. He was like, Ray, I always meant to tell you. I don't think he was gonna tell her.
I feel like meant to insinuates love because he's been there for a grip. Like, what else was he meant
Yeah,
to
but
tell her?
there's other lore that I read up on somewhere. You know how they have all the books and the games and the canon that said no, it's official. Finn
They're
is
friends?
just friends with Rey.
Mhm.
I'm not doing all that.
And I
for
don't
a
think
friend. You just-
I don't think he's gonna. One, Finn was scared to tell him that he wasn't in the first one that he wasn't a stormtrooper, and then
Yeah.
he lied to in Last Jedi. He wasn't gonna tell Rose that he was escaping. So I don't think he's the type of person to just bust out while in the middle of dying. Oh, you're Palpatine's daughter, or granddaughter. I don't think that. What I do think though is close to it because he did keep mentioning the Force and feeling it.
Mhm.
Maybe he was trying to tell her, I meant to tell you, I think I also have the Force. I can also am Force sensitive. Maybe.
So that, because I'm not a huge fan or I don't know a whole lot about the movies, I'm wondering then, can anybody
Possess the Force.
become or possess? Because it
They
is
say
part
the
of
Force
the
is a part- I was
universe,
gonna
right?
say, yeah, it's
And
with every
anyone
person,
can
it's,
train. It's
Yeah, it's just that's a sensitive subject for Star Wars heads because of the whole midichlorian things and
I was gonna
and the
say,
original
but
ones, and I don't
how do
know.
you- well, okay, I'm not.
If
Again,
you, is it
I'm
one of
not-
those things like if you believe?
No, it's supposed to be.
If you have
what's
these
happened in the
organisms
prequels? Yeah,
in your body, then
Yeah.
Anakin had 20,000 of them, but even still, he was defeated. So how much can that even really play?
but I think it's
How
just
much
in
does
terms
Palpatine have? If that's the case?
it's just in terms of whether or not Finn really did have the Force or that entire like set of stormtroopers who defected.
I was gonna
Did
say,
they also are they like going to be the? Oh, that's a good.
Are they
going to
Force
be the
sensitive
new?
then?
Are they Force sensitive? Are they going to be the new Jedi?
the new training. Ooh.
And another question, because like I said, you two had your own things, but you had talked about if they're going to do new trilogies, where's it going to go?
Yeah.
And if it's always light versus dark, balance somewhere.
Mhm.
With Rey being the Jedi, one of the last Jedi, like truly, and possibly those deserters are going to be the new Jedi, and coming out of it would be the new dark side that comes out from
Right.
there somewhere. That's where they can
But
go with
the
it.
same way as Misha said, that all plays because it's the same saga, it's the
Mhm.
same cycle, it's the same light versus dark, it's the same they rise from the ashes. Again, granted, I'm not saying that I wouldn't watch it. If it looks like it's gonna be good, it looks like they got the same characters, I would
Yeah.
watch it. But again, how long are we really want to sit here? Especially if we go back and look at Kylo Ren's arc. Now he's good. Now I was really excited when I read the the character or the credits on the screen. They said Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. I said, he took over.
the opening crawl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's get it. Like, like he's following in his own destiny because
Yeah.
as Han Solo's and Leia's kid, you expect him to be, Force. You expect him to go Jedi. You expect him to do something good. He tried to follow his grandfather and go dark side. I thought that was kind of cool, but I don't know. That's just me.
The reason I was cool with him eventually going good is because one, I knew it was gonna happen. Like I knew they would turn him good. The reason I knew was because in every single movie he always had hesitation. He had it in the first one.
Couldn't kill Han,
He and even when he was about to kill Han,
he couldn't kill what's it called?
His mom.
Yeah.
he couldn't kill his mom. There was always some type of hesitation in there. And then he didn't really want to follow Snoke. He just wanted the power, so that's why he killed Snoke. And everyone, there was always hints of it. And so I was like, they're gonna turn him. but I don't want them to turn him in a like just real quick like that.
Yeah.
He had like Rey had to stab him. His mom had to sacrifice herself.
He
He
had
had
to
to
kill-
go back to
Yeah.
that. So he had to go through all that in order to turn again. And like you said, with the original, this new trilogy mirroring the original, he basically did what Vader did.
Yeah.
In
But further though, he went
Yeah.
further along from Vader. But I'm curious to see, had Skywalker not tried to kill him, would he have gone?
Was he
Did
trying to kill him?
Skywalker
he did say for a split.
unintentionally
Yeah.
set off a different path for him?
Yeah, that was the other thing. He was going there, and they talked about while Rey is a Palpatine, it was Leia who saw in her that you aren't your blood.
Yeah.
So it's about they talk about it's the choices you make and it's the choices you continue to make. So that's why I was really cool because Kylo was killing the girls back and forth
It
Yeah.
was
throughout,
like,
throughout, and
slaughtering.
he was
Yeah.
like I don't care, and even throughout he wasn't about going Sith or Jedi. He was about
I just want power.
or I just want this whole thing to end so I can do my own thing. But I'm gonna do it through the dark side because I'm here. And
Yeah.
then the choices that his mom made,
Granted-
and the choices that Rey made to heal him, like was the biggest thing for him to finally stop the confliction that you've seen in every single movie he had.
Yeah. It makes sense. I just would rather. I would rather us have a clear cut bad guy. I guess if we're going to look for a new trilogy because.
In the next trilogy or this one?
The next one or the current one. Is the next one going to be about the three main heroes that we see?
No, this next one,
It's so-
everything. It's just a whole nother part of it. It's supposed to be. We're hoping it's gonna be a whole nother part because Star Wars is huge.
Yeah.
Like the galaxy is huge, so everything around the Skywalkers is done. We could probably see them here or there. You know they're gonna do that so we can like get a good trailer, be like, oh, okay. But
Right.
still try to make it away from the Skywalkers, away from Luke. I don't know about Rey, but still, it's supposed to be the end of the Skywalker trilogy. But like while I was going through it, and you were talking, and the whole this last trilogy, the confliction in Kylo was there. So I really enjoyed that they just quickly went to Palpatine. Like they didn't build up to Palpatine coming back in the movie. They was like 10 minutes in, Palpatine's back, and I'm like, okay, we have a clear-cut villain. The clear-cut villain was and always was Palpatine.
Yeah.
In everything. Palpatine was the dude in the original, Palpatine was the dude in the prequels, and Palpatine is the
thinking,
ultimate dude in this one.
I'm thinking it's not really. It reminds me similar to anime Naruto, but at the end of that anime, spoiler whatever. But same thing happens. Basically, a person was, I guess, planted beforehand, like you know. I don't. So are you trying to say Palpatine? He said he created Snoke, which then in turn, creates Kylo, which then creates whoever other dark side arises. But so Palpatine, even if he's gone, who takes over from him now though?
No
Because,
idea.
Yeah.
Like what happens now? Like
No idea.
Yeah.
That actually is what gets me watching the marathon. I'm a little bit more into Star Wars, and I'll probably look into it more. That gets me more excited because it's like a fresh slate.
yeah.
It's a fresh slate where they can go anywhere with it and build anything new with it. It's kind of like another random one, but it's like Watchmen. The Watchmen movie was done. It was clear. It was a clear-cut ending. And the Watchmen series, you were like, where are we going with this? It doesn't look... And then all of a sudden, they did something completely different while still connecting back to the original movie. And it is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Period.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then why did you think the ending was cheesy? So we
Because
got,
I
wait,
feel
explain
like,
what
okay,
happened. What happened in the end?
So the whole thing after she buried the lightsabers,
That was
of
Luke and
the-
Leia's,
Luke
right?
and Leia's,
Mhm.
her lightsaber color changed
Did she
into
get? I was
gold.
gonna say, did she get a gold lightsaber?
So it's no
What the-
longer
What was that?
white or red,
Or blue or red.
or blue or red or whatever,
Or green.
Oh yeah, green.
whatever color.
And
She's
Sam
got-
Jackson, of course, has
Yes.
purple.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he
It's
purple
a
Drake
gold
and
one.
blue.
I
And in
just
Clone
thought it
Wars,
was
his
really
Prince had
cheesy.
white. That was fine. But,
I mean, it kind of leads into whatever they decide to do. with
how
the
does she get a
new
gold lightsaber?
Saga.
I have no idea how lightsabers are made, but I feel like when I saw it, I was like, "Whose lightsaber is that?" And then
Because she
was-
turned it. She didn't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
flip the.
was that
No.
her? Was that her stick that she had?
Yeah.
Did she take her stick and like break it down? And you know her original
Mhm,
stick that she had.
Yeah,
To me, it looked like her stick
Yeah.
that she broke down and
And-
made into a lightsaber
I
and just
mean,
made her own.
maybe.
If you go back to Clone Wars, the cartoon,
I
like
know nothing of it. So just
It's all on Hulu, or no, it's all on Disney Plus.
Disney
I'm sorry.
Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like Padawans make their own, like, you know, they literally take parts and they take like Jedi crystals and like,
Kyber crystals. That
yeah.
I know now.
and put like and to make their own lightsabers. Now, even one of my biggest problems, I guess, with this new trilogy is the fact that how I guess she's a Palpatine daughter, make granddaughter.
Granddaughter,
makes sense.
yeah.
Why was she so strong with the Force to begin with? Because
Bloodline?
remember, she was fighting Kylo like episode 1 of her saga.
Yeah,
and she repelled him easily.
Yeah,
I was
Yeah.
like,
it's
what?
it's answered here.
But
That's
nah,
why
answered-
that's why
yeah,
Palpatine
yeah.
wanted to get her right then and there because she knew she was Force. Just like in the prequels, they went and got him and found him, and it was like, "Yep, you Anakin are coming with us
Yeah.
because we can feel it." And so
It makes sense.
she
yeah.
just had somebody strong with the Force. So
Yeah.
I feel like there was one other thing that I wanted to mention quick. Oh, okay. So I've been mentioning to you because you've been laughing at Poe and Finn, right? You've been laughing at Poe and Finn, and I want to watch that that commercial they had of there's a commercial where John Boyega basically does a bromance love letter to Poe, and it's real funny and it's great. But I read up beforehand, before I saw it, I read this news article that said Star Wars has the first same-sex kiss.
Was it?
and-
But it was the female.
no, it was
I was-
yeah.
I
It
was
was
gonna
a
say.
quick thing. It was a quick thing, and I was like, I really don't want it to be a quick thing. I want it to be Finn and Poe.
I was gonna say-
want Finn and Poe to kiss because that would be
If
it.
if they would have tried to cross those gender boundaries, that would have been cool. I mean, it would have been a interesting shot. 'Cause I would have been like, I would have shocked me. I would have thought you were in love with Rey. But I mean, if you like,
See that
okay.
wouldn't have shocked me. That would have shocked because
Shocked
you
me.
had so when Rose kissed Finn in Last Jedi, and like once I heard that, my mind started spinning. I was like, they got the bromance. I like the two of them together. They're just that would make complete sense because they are that close
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
one escape.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Yeah, it would have
and
made sense.
It would have made sense, and I would have been like, "Yep, that is not forced. That is a relationship right there that's
Been there.
That's been there
Exactly.
from the beginning. That is
Yes.
definitely something." Yeah. Before I forget, the one part of the movie I didn't like is when they found out that Hux was the spy
Yeah.
for the First Order, and I guess it makes sense, but it was a weak.
It doesn't.
Weak.
I don't want you to win. I want.
What
Kylo
was
alive.
what makes sense because he hates Kylo, but it was a weak reasoning.
Stronger than you.
It was for me. It was a weak reasoning to give up everything you've been fighting against just because you hate this one person.
Because he's stronger than you. What do you want?
Yeah, and he's just petty.
I'm sorry.
I
Pettiness.
wonder if it's okay. Let me get this dude out of the way because he's doing the same thing Vader does, where if you disagree with him, he'll just kill you
Probably
off
to
right
an
there and then
extent.
in the meeting.
But
And
but,
so let me get him out the way.
but to the point where
somehow.
you're gonna go completely against. You gave
The
this
sabotage order.
big Hitler like speech
Yeah,
at the
telling all the
beginning.
clones.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Poe made you look like a fool at the beginning of Last Jedi with the "Are you still there?" He's been looking
Yeah.
like a fool the entire time.
That-
Except he got the win with the being able to track the light speed, so
That
he
was
would get a
nice.
loss. He would get a real petty loss, but he would get a big win.
Yeah.
And now, just because you don't like him, you're just gonna be like, I don't care
So,
if the First Order loses.
Star
It's-
Wars lore. This makes no sense to me. Apparently, there can only be two Siths. I'm sorry. an apprentice
master
and
and
yeah.
apprentice. Yeah.
So, and my whole thing is,
Real
if that's
quick,
the case, how
real-
could he even be mad? You're not an apprentice. You have no force. Why are you trying to sabotage the First Order? Why are you a spy in the first place? Your
'Cause
job
he's
is to run up on planets. That's it.
Yeah.
petty. Petty. That's why I didn't like that part. What I did like how they resolved it is that the new general or whatever, Pride,
Yeah.
quickly
Oh.
dead.
So,
Yep.
I was
Bye.
like,
that
We
was like
killed
they
our
were-
new
thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
That was-
That resolved that for me
satisfying.
because I was like, that makes sense for somebody who's petty, but that's a weak reasoning. And then they just killed him. I'm like, thank you.
yeah.
I'm glad y'all just got rid of him because that was
I feel
not.
like Star Wars does a lot of, I don't know if it's intentional or unintentional, but they do a lot of fan service. They do a lot of, this may not make sense to now, but give it 40 minutes, give it 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Here goes the
Kind
plan.
of a lot of the big franchises do that because, like I said, all of the Avengers there was big fan service, and some people might not like fan service. I love it if it makes sense.
Because some of those movies were good, some of them weren't. I'm not a huge a Marvel fan, but I mean, I did see just about all the Marvel movies, and some of them were good, some of them weren't. But it's a whole nother.
I
So-
mean, I don't want to get in that debate. It's not a Marvel. It's not a
I was
Marvel
gonna
video.
say, yeah,
but
no.
anyway,
My ultimate favorite scene have to say is when she went into, right before she put down the 2 lightsabers of Luke's and Leia's, when she went and walked around where they used to live, Skywalker.
Yeah, Tatooine.
Going back and just, I really
Yeah.
appreciated
As
that.
soon as she
So
hit the
the-
landing, I
so
was
the
like,
same-
Tatooine?
The same scene you think is cheesy 2 seconds earlier.
I said no. I said it was cheesy because of the lightsaber, not because of the fact that she was there. And
Okay, so not,
I didn't
and I was gonna say, what about the fact that she called herself a Skywalker?
I thought that was cheesy.
Mm.
But when she
I like
went
it
there, it
too
was
much.
like paying an homage to
Yeah.
everything
To everything,
Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason I was cool with it is because the entire time I'm trying to figure out why is it called the Rise of Skywalker. So when Ben was tossed like Vader, I was like, okay, is he coming back and is he gonna be the one that survives
Right.
Yeah.
or whatever, or yeah. So when she was trying to say her surname, I was like, oh, that's the Rise of Skywalker. Okay,
Mm.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. I got you. I was wondering for a while. I was wondering since when could she heal people? But again, that's just the
Yeah.
new. That's just look. People were complaining about that with Jedi. Is like, how could he force project? And then I was just like, look, we don't know everything about the Jedi.
Nah, we
This
don't.
is what the movie is for, to explain to you where you can go with things. And it's the last one.
weird when movies do that, especially in the last one before do something, because it's like you can't introduce, again, I haven't read the books, there's so much lore, but you can't necessarily introduce something like, oh, here's how this works. Because if that's the case, then why did Anakin start this whole thing to begin with? He was searching to heal people, trying to prevent death.
And
She
now,
just brought him back to life.
and
What
yeah.
the heck was this whole for?
Yeah, that does make sense, but I still don't go at it just because it's what the movies are there to introduce that. But I do get your point that it's the very last one. So
But
why are you gonna introduce it now?
especially
Yeah.
if he was the strongest one, why wouldn't
Right.
I didn't just think to go, well, instead of force pushing, maybe let me control it a little bit more and force it to this woman.
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is that we've seen that every generation is stronger than the next. So if Vader was the strongest
Could
one
you
for his
imagine how strong
generation,
Rey is then?
then Rey
There's
is the
no way she can be out of the series.
Rey is the next strongest one. After that,
20,000 though?
and then eventually it's gonna be Broom Kid who takes her up because we have no idea what happened to Broom Kid in the Last
Forgot
Jedi.
I forgot about dude. What?
So he's gonna be the one who comes up. There's your answer. It's Broom Kid. Broom Kid is the one who's gonna come up and either be the next. No, because
He's
he was a
gonna be-
rebel. He
might be evil.
Anyway,
If it's a Anakin thing, maybe his mom got kidnapped or something.
maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So last question I have is, if you have to say now, where would you rank this? And I also actually want to know,
Out
since
of
you
9?
watch all of them, what would be your top? I have my top 2. What would be your top 3?
Gee,
What would be your top 3? And again, we're 30s. He is 21. So
One of mine is definitely, I'm surprised.
I know you because you told me. That's why I'm trying
I know,
to
but-
preface it with
I mean,
age and age.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
Not that one. But I'm talking about. Well, I personally kind of really like The Last Jedi. I think
I like
that,
Last
that
Jedi
comes
too.
at
Yeah.
3 for me.
Okay.
Because I really like that movie. I don't understand why. I think the action was pretty good. I feel like we needed to see Rey and I feel like maybe because it's born for people. I feel like I, as a Star Wars fan, needed to see that interaction between Rey and Luke.
What I heard is that people didn't think that that's how Luke acted, or that's not what Luke is. But for me, the
He's
reason
been-
that he's been gone for 30 years.
By himself.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean?
So
what do you think
it's-
isolation does? to
that's
someone?
that's the same thing. That's the same reason why I'm okay with introducing new powers and things is because it's a new movie where things have happened
For
since
so
then,
long.
and it's
Well,
been a bunch of
yeah.
time. So if they never introduce, they have to introduce it
Mm.
at some point. So they're gonna introduce it there.
That's true.
It can be a little bit of a easy save. She is halfway a cheat code.
Yeah,
But
She
still,
is
she is halfway a cheat code.
she might be.
but that's what the story is, and I going back to I liked how much of a force Palpatine was against the two of them.
Mhm.
So even though she was a cheat code through it, towards the end she really had to fight.
Yeah.
I guess one key point we didn't talk about that we probably should is Kylo coming back, bringing her back to life,
Yeah,
and
for
sacrificing himself
Yeah.
and bringing her back. How did y'all feel about that?
I,
Before we get back to the rankings.
place of the love story to me, Because to see them kiss, that threw me off. It didn't throw me off because I can understand why he would want to turn her.
They've been building up
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
I could
especially
see.
with that scene when she was trying to tell him, put some clothes on, dude.
Yeah.
While I was saying, I was like, don't kiss, because it
Yeah.
would be much better. And then when they kiss, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. It's much better than the Attack of the Clones. That whole
I mean,
love story thing.
I don't know about that
But-
one. Because, I mean, I don't know. She was 14. He was like, what? 9, maybe 7? Something like that. You know, shoot that shot. What y'all talking about? Shoot that shot, baby.
But anyway, I think that was another thing that completed his arc, though. Another reason
Yeah.
that it was resolved. You didn't like that he turned, but he turned and he died. If he would have turned and stayed, I would have been like,
Yeah, I like
but
that.
he ultimately turned and he died,
If
and
he-
ultimately because of his mom.
I was gonna say, if he, for the reasons that he turned, fine. But again, I just, in my personal opinion, I just think that they could have turned him maybe better. Because why would they wait till the last movie?
Well, of course they would, because he was supposed to be. It's like Vader. You said it. They've been mirroring the whole thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted him to turn in Last Jedi just because that means you'd have to bring up a whole new random
That is true.
antagonist that nobody has anything
And
behind.
I was
You don't
gonna
have
say,
anything.
having
You
him
don't.
there
You
brings
don't.
Palpatine.
Yeah, you don't care for him. You don't have you have no stakes behind him. It's just like, who is this new person? But having him towards the end gives you somebody that you halfway root for, even though he's evil. See, now more things. You were wondering whether or not that red pattern at the beginning was
Yeah.
Darth Maul's planet.
Darth
So
Maul.
what's Darth Maul's planet?
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Okay. The reason I think it might be is because he went there to go find the Wayfinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Wayfinder, it was basically Palpatine knew where they were, right? Darth Maul was Palpatine's apprentice, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So if anybody else would have the Wayfinder beside it being on the old Death Star,
What happened?
it would be on Darth Maul's planet. If it wasn't, Palpatine would have one, Darth Maul would have the
Yeah,
other. So
yeah.
it could have been.
Apprentice with the whole master.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It could have been. It could have been. I want to know where Darth Maul is though, because he's alive. So that
He's someone. Yo,
that could be somebody who comes
that'd
back
be
in the new
crazy.
one because he's alive.
He got killed by Ben though, so I don't know.
When
Well, he didn't get killed, but was that
Clone Wars?
Phantom Menace.
no, but remember,
When they're fighting in the scene, doesn't he stab him?
yeah, but Solo is after Phantom Menace. He gets resurrected in Clone Wars.
Right, but I'm
but at the
saying
end-
though, if Ben can kill him,
Oh, but he's
Rey
it's-
might,
But it's been a long time again. You don't know how much. And we were left off with the end of Solo.
Palpatine.
He's the master for Kira at the end of Solo.
Yeah.
And because Solo apparently didn't do that well, even though I actually like that movie,
That's the movie.
that's been left off where we don't know where Darth Maul is anymore. Unless there's other lore that I haven't seen. Clone Wars,
He's
I
not
haven't
on
seen
Darth
Rebels,
Vader.
I haven't seen anything else. So anyway, back to your rankings. You said 3 is Last Jedi.
Yes. 2, either Phantom of the Menace. Nah, take it back.
Okay.
2, take it back. 2, probably Revenge of the Sith. Because, like I said, I really, really like the ending to Revenge of the Sith. Granted, I personally think Obi-Wan should have just killed Anakin. I understand why he couldn't. That's his brother. He trained him. I get it. He's suffering. He's burning up. He could have ended the whole thing. And then 1, would it be cheesy to say this movie? Maybe because it's fresh.
Okay.
It was literally a really good movie from
I
beginning
liked
to
it.
ending. Like, I honestly can't. Even the downtime was like great. Like there was
Yeah.
comedy. Like
Uh-huh.
there was a still love and scenes. Like it was a really good movie from beginning to finish.
So Rise of Skywalker right now is number 1.
Right now, it's number 1 for me.
Maslow, if you have 3.
if I have 2.
Okay.
So my second choice would be Last Jedi. Or
Okay.
yeah. And then my first choice is Rogue One.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Rogue One.
Why?
I thought there were a lot of funny scenes. It was very enjoyable movie all throughout.
Yeah.
And I like that big robot.
K2SO.
Yeah,
K2SO.
K2SO. That was my favorite character in that whole movie.
So for me, again, age, saying that everybody who actually watched Star Wars and didn't Star Wars is killing us right now because Empire Strikes Back is not number 1. For me,
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back is number 3. It's number 3 for me. Again, when I saw the originals finally, I was a little underwhelmed. but I had to bring it back and say it was made back then, and for a movie back then, the plot. It's not even about the CGI and everything or how it looks. It's just the plot. I don't know. The writing back then and writing now should still be the same, but I still was underwhelmed. But anyway, it's still looking back at it, thinking about how. Because I'm jaded with all the little twists and surprises and everything. So that was the biggest surprise of all time back then. That it's not Luke, I am your father. It's no, I am your father. But that was the biggest surprise of cinematic history at the time.
You know what's crazy?
And the fact that is that the one where Yoda dies?
Yes.
Yeah, so all
Yes.
of that and Han was frozen. That was the biggest cliffhanger of it.
Yeah.
So I get why that's but that's number 3. But what were you saying?
I was gonna say. I actually just forgot.
my bad.
Oh, you're good.
But so that's number 3 for me. Right now, Rise of Skywalker is number 2. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah,
I
like-
really enjoyed this movie. I really cannot think of something, and again, this might be because I'm not a Star Wars head, but I cannot think of something that goes against it. Like,
Yeah.
just like I like Last Jedi, but Rise of Skywalker is number 2, but I'm with you. Rogue One is
Rogue One.
Really?
hands down the best for me. It's not only is it comedy and a great action, but it's the one that has stakes.
Yeah.
And every single character that you meet in the short amount of time that you see them, they create stakes for them, and they create character arcs for them, and they create relationships, and just the fact that everybody died and it was done and it was for a reason. It's
Yeah.
just
I
like
was gonna say,
this,
yeah.
just Rogue One is definitely
Yeah. And the
is
connection
number-
they made with who is it?
With-
3PO.
and R2
Yeah.
to at the end of it to A New Hope. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
Rogue One
thought
is
that was really
Rogue One's
cool.
my favorite.
Mhm.
So
I like it. It'd be my 4th. I like Rogue One a lot, but I don't know. I just really like the 3rd episode. 3. I don't know. Just something about that fight is crazy. I love the planet blown up. And Anakin, that was the one. Anakin let us down, man. He was the one.
anything else that we missed? I feel like there was something else in my head that I can't remember, but I can't think of it right now. Anything
I
else?
like the way the lightsabers look. They're really cool.
Yeah, finally had a lot of dope lightsaber
Yeah.
fights.
They look
Lots of
alive
great
fighting. They were.
Yeah.
It was really dope. Especially when she does a backflip over the
Oh, that
waterfall
was
and
a
he walks
badass
through it.
move.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Okay.
Come get.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Do you think? I think her name is. I've read it, Jana or whatever. The black chick who deserted.
Is that Lando's
Is
daughter?
that Lando's daughter?
Okay, see,
yes.
that was another cheesy moment that I didn't really care for.
Yeah.
I would have
So
said.
general.
I would've-
Where are you from?
I would have said it was cheesy.
Find out.
I would have said it was cheesy. I would have said it was cheesy if he would have said, "You're my daughter,"
Mm.
or if she would have said,
But
"I'm
they
also for the gold region."
insinuated. Let's
They
find
made
out.
made it not for me they made it not cheesy because that's Lando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lando is low key still the old creep, so he is low key trying to help her, but low key hitting
Trying
on
to
her
herself.
at the same time.
That's very
That's
true.
exact. So they did it because I was like, "Don't say gold region," and she said, "And I was like, okay, good, yeah." And now they might be insinuate. So that was I like that, but
Yeah.
I think I still feel like there's one other thing that like popped up for me, but I cannot remember anymore. So yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
So actually, for me, never mind. I keep forgetting she's Palpatine's
Okay,
granddaughter,
here's-
man. I was gonna say she threw the lightning back. I was like,
Palpatine's granddaughter. Palpatine's granddaughter. I'm very happy Chewie didn't die. I was
yeah,
enough of.
nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm indifferent about that. Cause had he died,
It would have stakes.
yeah, I would have been like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that would have made it. That would have
That
made it
would've
an
been
even
epic.
better movie.
Yeah,
I am personally happy.
Yeah.
Chewie did not die.
I
That's
think-
a personal thing, not
Does she
movie
find
wise.
out before she goes to see Palpatine?
Yeah, because she felt him.
Had she not,
She felt him on the ship.
she might have killed him. Cause I feel like that would have been his fault.
Maybe.
She might have killed him.
What,
I mean,
Kylo or Palpatine?
Palpatine. I mean, even still, Kylo probably would have stopped her. He had turned at that point. He threw his lightsaber.
So the knife that she was holding, that's that same knife that killed her parents,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And also had
The
the
writing.
map.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I also like the fact that they, her and Kylo's connection wasn't Snoke, or isn't Snoke. it was just Snoke saying some stuff, or it was Palpatine who did it for them to bring him there. But either way, it wasn't just Snoke and a thing because they kept having it after Snoke died. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that little thing. That's one new power that actually was built up.
Yeah.
was
So
built
is
up.
that Palpatine's doing, or is it that they're just that strong that they can feel a different part of the
I
Force?
think it's whatever that dyad thing is they were talking about. How they're a dyad and yeah, I guess
It's
that's
like that connection that took their
Connection.
yeah,
powers.
that connection. So, and that's how that's how he could come back because the two of them. And like, I couldn't catch all of what a dyad was, but like, I'm guessing that's what the two of the strongest Sith family, the strongest Jedi family, they have a connection.
Oh,
So-
there's too many books. There's too much lore.
Man,
Wait,
I'm gonna have to
didn't,
read up.
Who was it? Will Smith. Didn't he do a similar movie like that where he was with somebody that had the same force and they couldn't be together?
I don't know. But Will Smith has had some movies recently that
It just made me think of that.
So,
But
but
it
anything
was a
else?
good movie.
Nah, good movie. Take your
Alright,
kids.
so with that was our review for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I'd like to thank
AKA
Avengers Endgame
2.0.
2.0. Like Junior, Master Wall, appreciate
Thanks
you
for
for
having
joining me. First guest on this channel. So, well, guest speaking on this channel. You were on it earlier, but it was just a quick thing. So, we'll see y'all on the next one. I am not writing anything. I am tired, and no.
Yeah.
Peace.